Hope you guys are having a glorious Saturday. We're going to be doing a awesome stream tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, so be sure to check that out. But first, let's talk about something that I didn't cover yesterday during the Transformers Fan First Friday, and it's that of the Target exclusives that they have planned for us. And one of them that I really want to isolate because of how it's going to be a monetary and financial problem for a lot of people if they kind of sleep on this. And it's unfortunate that I actually am shooting this now on Saturday because stuff has already changed even from yesterday, and I'll get into that. So on the First Friday, they talked about how there's going to be Target exclusives, Deluxe EarthRise Runabout, and of course the Voyager EarthRise Thrust. Now those are two characters that we've gotten toys of in the past in the Classics-esque kind of style. These are just newer versions of them that will be replacing our older versions. And in the case of, let's say, Deluxe Runabout, he originally that was stuff that was, club exclusive, so it was already expensive and a headache to begin with. Target exclusives aren't as expensive, but probably just as much of a headache. The one good thing is EarthRise Deluxes, because these Target exclusives are of two different price points, being that the Thrust is a Voyager and the Runabout is a Deluxe. They'll obviously be shipping in their own case assortments as Target exclusives, so expect a case of 8 Runabouts to hit every single target every single time. So there'll be plenty of Runabouts. I don't think he'll be difficult to get. Not to mention he's the less popular of the two, in my opinion, in terms of purchasing power. Might have nothing to do with character development or stuff like that, but more people are always trying to complete their Seekers than they are their Battle Chargers. Now let's talk about Thrust. Here's the one that's going to be a headache. So, recent indications, due to recent EarthRise case assortments, Voyagers, they ship in numbers of 3. So, chances are Target, if they do only one order of exclusives, that this again, and I stress this so many times, every Target is its own entity. Every Target store is its own story. Every Target store has their own toy section manager. They decide how many they want to order, if any at all. But if they do order even one case, it's going to be only 3. It's going to be 3 thrusts per case, 3 in total. It's a standalone case just of thrust, and he's going to be a headache. Considering there's only 3 of them, and how the market is, and how people are going to be snapping these up to either complete their secret collection of Coneheads, or alternatively, the flip side of it, to scalp for resale, because how the other 2 were already purchasable were difficult in that 2-pack. It's going to be a headache. I just know it. And as of this recording, already the pre-orders on Target's website and through different sources have sold out already. So it's going to be a bit of a headache. So what I recommend for people is this is going to be shipping out very shortly. I believe the date they put on this was December, if I remember correctly. Although they do break street dates, so look, October's almost done. We're going into November. I would even be checking even now into November. And ask around. Go in. I know this sounds crazy, and some people say, oh, when you ask the toy manager, they act like they don't know what you're talking about, or they say there's nothing in the back. But it's something that if you have a Target and you are interested in this and you don't have an alternative method online that's affordable, go to your Target and ask and inquire, or check regularly early in the morning, because when it's not as busy and a toy manager is not swamped with all the craziness and all the busyness that's coming with the big V and stuff like that. But it's going to be a headache. It will be a headache, though, and it will be difficult for people to collect and get him just because of how low the numbers will be. Not to mention that EarthRise is on its way out, so most retailers are looking to get a strong case assortment of first wave stuff of Kingdom. They're not so much interested in getting late wave stuff of EarthRise, even that of Target exclusives. Keep that in mind too. So this is going to be a lot of different compounded problems, but it also is something that I will say this, and I know people are going to hate me to say this, but it is going to be a good kind of financial investable thing where if you do pick it up, even if you don't want it, there is people that are going to want it. And it's going to lead to scalping. It is. It's going to lead to an absurd amount of scalping. And, I don't have Target where I live, so I'm just going to have to deal with the secondary market, unfortunately. I'll probably have some friend that'll hook me up with a thrust. They'll find one or something. I'm lucky to have a great group of people in my circle that help me out with this kind of stuff. Hopefully other people could have the same, and we won't have like the craziness that was going on with the Seeker 2-pack with Skywarp and Thundercracker. The good thing with that Skywarp and Thundercracker was it first came out, those were 2 per case. Those, these were big boxes, 2 per case. But luckily, even though they were getting scalped like crazy and there was a lot of, not cool people doing that, that whole market got damaged like crazy because then they did a second shipment of it, and now they're just clogging all over the place. Like, I mean, even in Toys R Us here in Canada, there's still like a whole bunch of them just sitting around. And so that market kind of at least crashed. But this thrust, I'm worried about it just because it's 3 per case. It's the end of a wave. An end of a series, which, a lot of times end of wave stuff, last wave stuff, they don't get ordered as much because, look, come December, come January, we're going to be in Kingdom World. It's going to be the Animal Kingdom. It's going to be Transformers, Beast Wars, Kingdom. We're going to be knee deep in that. And we're going to have that's going to be a heavy first wave order. And there's going to be tons of Cheetors and tons of Primals, and all of that is going to be there. Think of the first wave of EarthRise. You probably still go to your Walmart and still see first wave of the EarthRise stuff. You probably still see, what do you call it? You still see the modulators. You still see Cliff Jumper. I wouldn't even be surprised if you still see Hoist. It's probably all still there. Ironworks, the whole thing. But again, that's me telling you, don't focus too much on the Kingdom stuff. That's something you don't have to break your neck to go out of your way to get. There's going to be plenty of that very first wave. But the end wave EarthRise stuff, and specifically this thrust, if you're interested in getting them, don't sleep on this, guys. It's going to be a headache later. I mean, we know the history of Seeker jets, and even the boring Seeker jets, the ones that aren't Starscreams, when one of those guys end up becoming some kind of an exclusive or some kind of a limited release and you want to complete your trios, it's a headache. It's a headache. Think of, Target Skywarp Deluxe that came in the 2-pack with Ultra Magnus back in the day, and what his secondary market price was back in, let's say 2008, 2009, 2010, and how crazy it was getting. Think of Thrust, how when he was a BotCon exclusive, his Deluxe, afterwards, then it became a retail thing. But same thing, you were talking $150 Deluxe figure in the secondary market back in 2007, which is crazy. So I don't want to have to read later on that people are paying $150 to $200 for this Voyager just because of how limited it is. Get out there, pick it up for your friends, pick it up for yourself. Don't be a dick, so to speak. Just let's keep it all sane, guys, and keep an eye out for that, because that's going to be a big headache later.